This is the Business Hour in partnership with Network B2B, helping you share your passion, knowledge, and make great connections.
A warm welcome to Podcast for Business. Podcast for Business is all about helping businesses share their knowledge, passion, expertise, news of events, workshops, and seminars. Podcast for Business is brought to you in partnership with Network B2B, structured networking in a relaxed environment. For more information about a group near you, visit networkb2b.co.uk. Thank you to this week's sponsor, Premier Homes in Spain. If you're looking for your own home in Spain, check out premierhomesinspain.com. All interviews featured in Podcast for Business, first featured in the Business Hour podcast. The Business Hour podcast brings you feel-good music as well to help you through your week. For more information, visit podcastforbusiness.co.uk. Sit back and enjoy Podcast for Business.
Like to share news about your business, event, seminar, or workshop? Simply email steve@stevetwynham.com.
It's a wonderful Friday afternoon. I'm at the Middlethorpe Hotel and Spa just outside York. There's been a seminar going on this morning run by Stuart, Wright, business growth specialist, and it's a pleasure to be joined by Stuart now. Stuart, tell me what was going on this morning.
Yes, Steve. So thank you very much for inviting me along today. So yeah, the workshop that we did this morning was titled How to Get More Customers Fast. So really what we were doing today was we were going through all sorts of different principles about how to make lead generation, customer acquisition, sales, profits and cash flow predictable. You see, I think you'll probably agree with me that one of the things that probably is the biggest stress creator, if you like, for business owners is cash flow. And what we really want to do in business is try and get to the stage where we can create predictable cash flow for ourselves. So the idea of today's workshop was really just to get a feeling for what was working well for the business owners, what maybe they wasn't working so well, and what also they needed to consider that maybe they needed to try that would help them get to the stage where their cash flow was predictable.
Okay, you jogged my memory there from when I was a young manager, and I remember doing the first presentation to a director's board, and one of the directors asked me, so Steve, what's the most important thing on that sheet? And you know when your mind goes blank, and the big finger came and he went, cash. Manage the cash and you'll be okay. Yeah. So how did you get involved in this kind of work, Stuart?
With Action Coach, so originally I was an Action Coach client, and it all started with a seminar. I came to a seminar just like this. Action Coach had been putting on free seminars for business owners for 25 years, Steve, believe it or not.
Wow.
And I think certainly for me, I needed to do something different in business because what I found was that I was working far too many hours. I was doing okay in business. I was earning decent money, but actually I wasn't spending enough time with my family. And really the realization when my first daughter was born that, there's a lot more to life than just working your backside off. I realized that actually something needed to change. I didn't actually realize until I came to that seminar that the thing that really needed to change was me. So it was a really great seminar given by a very good friend of mine now who became my coach, Chris, who's also is still an Action Coach today. And Chris helped me with my business at the time. Literally within 9 months, we had quadrupled profits, and the business was really starting to work without me. So much so that by about 2009, so I started being coached in 2007. By about 2009, I then had the ability, if you like, to look at other business opportunities as well as my jewellery business. So I came across another opportunity, which was a ventilation business. I got involved with that. And literally by 2012, I had sold my jewellery business, but I had my ventilation business working without me. And that for me was just incredible because going from a guy that was used to working 90 hours a week to actually having a business that could grow and function without me was just incredible. So really I'm a kind of poacher turned gamekeeper because once I got all my time back and my business was running really well without me, I thought, well, do you know what? I've got to share this with other business owners because I see so many business owners who are just like me, running around being really, really busy, some earning good money, some not earning good money. I mean, if you're working really hard and not earning good money, that's what I call a hobby. I don't know about you.
Yeah, so I would call that a hobby, yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I felt that, you know what, now I can add value. And I think that's human nature, isn't it? Once you've actually achieved a certain amount of success yourself, I think it's human nature to want to share it with others. And it just became the absolute obvious thing for me to do, to become a business growth specialist with Action Coach, because that system that they've created over the last 25 years is proven. It works. It works so well. We have the most amazing net promoter score. It's well over 70.
Wow.
And that, as you know, is a heck of an achievement. You know, we're up there above Apple and Amazon, I believe. So it's a really incredible.
That's a great
It's
score.
a really incredible organisation to be a part of, and an amazing community. And our business owners are just going from strength to strength.
So, Stuart, when you first went to that seminar,
Yes.
And you talked about the hours you're working, it's that phrase where you're working really in the business. What was there a challenge in letting go of things? Because that's often a challenge for some business people, that they think they have to do it all.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And yes, there was a challenge. And there was also a belief issue as well. I think, like many business owners, I believed that the business wouldn't run without me. I think sometimes business owners, like myself, need to commit what I call ego side. Mm-hmm. We need to realise that actually, you know what, if we systemize the stuff that we're really good at, if we put a lot of care and attention and love into the team that we nurture, and we help those people to operate our amazing systems really well, then we're in a situation where at least 80% of the time you're catching people doing things really well, exceptionally well. And then the remaining 20% you're humanising for the exceptions. So I'm a big believer now, and I wasn't then, that a business needs to be a system. And if the systems are right, and the business owner can then start to move away from that business, as long as they're also mindful of the fact that they've got to grow a great team. So I think that was the game changer for me, Steve. It was the fact that I realised that the systemisation. You know what? I often say to business owners now, if you are doing something in your business and it's in your head and you haven't written it down, turned it into a video, turned it into an audio, mm-hmm. turned it into a process, turned it into a system, guess what? You're going to always have to do it.
Yeah.
And if you're always going to have to do it, it means you always have to show up. And if you always have to show up, then explain to me how that is any different from having a job.
Yeah, get that totally. Been there myself in the past as well. So you've been here in York today, but you do events across Yorkshire. You've got a really, really busy event calendar. I just checked that out before we were talking. So what other kind of events have you got on?
So we've got events, for example, an event coming up very shortly is Sales for Non-Sales People. I often find when I go to when I do some of these events, I ask the business owners in the room to raise their hands if they're in sales. And if I haven't got 100% of the people in the room raising their hands, I will give them a hard time and say, listen guys, you know what, you're all in sales. But I do find that a lot of business owners haven't necessarily had an amazing amount of sales training. So I do a nice, easy workshop for people to understand how to really sell ethically and to overcome their sort of fears of the fear of selling that a lot of people seem to have.
Do people have that big fear of rejection, Stuart, you think, from a fear of selling?
I think certainly certain personality profiles do, Steve. Yeah, I think there's a lot of business owners who are probably more outgoing and people-oriented, and those sorts of business owners probably do have that fear of rejection. Although that personality profile that I've just mentioned there, that they are the sort of people that you would expect to be in a situation where they're influencing, but they like people so much and they like to be liked that sometimes they really don't like to have that rejection. Mm-hmm. So I think it does depend on the personality profile, but yeah, I would suggest that there is a bit of a fear of rejection with a lot of people, yeah.
And you know, at the end of the day, like you say, everybody's in sales, aren't they?
Well, they are.
You've got to put that message out there.
Absolutely.
You've got to put that message out there. So, Stuart, when is that one happening?
That event is on Friday the 15th of March. We run it from 9 a.m. till 12 p.m. and it's at Rudding Park Hotel in Harrogate.
Right, okay. And other kind of things you've got on? You've got group coaching sessions, I believe, as well?
Yes, what we do is I really like group coaching. And the reason why I do is because I think not only do the delegates for group coaching benefit from a real structured approach, a really great business plan that they can work from, and a step-by-step approach to all the things they probably need to learn that they're not going to learn anywhere else. I think one of the massive advantages of group coaching is the peer-to-peer learning and also a group accountability. Mm-hmm. One of the things that's really important to us as coaches is making sure that we keep people on the path that they've set for themselves in order to help them achieve their goals. And the accountability that you get, there's no way in the world that anyone that comes to any of my group coaching sessions wants to be the only person in the room that hasn't actually done the stuff that they committed to do last time. So yeah, the group coaching taster sessions that I'm running, it's really people's introduction to coaching in a very sort of non-threatening environment. Thing is, Steve, you probably know yourself, business coaching is absolutely booming. You know, business coaching is much more popular than it ever used to be 10 years ago. And I guess business owners out there will probably ask themselves from time to time, well, what's all the fuss about? Why are so many business owners employing the services of a coach these days to help them? I think what's really important is you've got to make any business decision needs to be made objectively and not with gut and emotion. The best thing to do if you're going to make a decision about whether or not business coaching is going to help you is to experience it in a non-threatening way with no financial commitment. So I like to do these taster sessions so people can come and see the value for themselves without actually making any financial commitment. And if at the end of that session they can see the value, then obviously they're more than welcome to join the group. If they get to the end of the session and think, you know what, coaching's a load of rubbish, it's not for me, then off they go on their merry way.
And that's okay.
All good.
Yeah, I'm smiling because in terms of like coaching, I'm trying to put this analogy into place. I was in the gym on Tuesday working with my personal coach, okay? And God bless her, she put me through things that I never even realised I could do or could achieve. And it's the same in business coaching, isn't it, really? Often we think we know what we can do, but we put this limit on ourselves. Yeah. And just opening that mindset and getting people to think in a different way can make a massive difference.
Absolutely it can. I mean, I think it was it Jim Rohn that said, work harder on your business than you do on yourself. If you work hard on your business, you can make a living. If you work hard on yourself, you can make a fortune. And boy, was he right. You know, I don't think I'd read a business book. Well, I hadn't read a business book for at least 14, 15 years when I was in my very first business. And the very first business book I read was called The E-Myth by Michael Gerber. I'm sure there's plenty of your listeners who will have read that book. And hopefully not too many that haven't. But if there are listeners out there that haven't read it, I thoroughly recommend it because that book changed my life. It changed the way that I think about business altogether. And that set me on a path to the success that I've achieved in business now and also the success that I'm helping other business owners achieve as well.
So, Stuart, if people want to find out more about you, how can they do that?
Well, the easiest thing to do is to either follow us on social media. We're all over it like a rash, as you might imagine, both on LinkedIn and on Facebook. My Facebook page is called The 7 Day Weekend, really because I'm a big believer
Love it.
Well, you know, there's a couple of choices. You know, either love what you do and do it with passion, which means you've probably got a 7-day weekend because it doesn't feel like working, or create a business that can work without you so it gives you passive income, or you can sell it and go and do something else. So certainly 7-Day Weekend on Facebook, and then obviously there's my Action Coach website, which is actioncoach.com/Stuart Wright.
Brilliant. Stuart, thanks for joining us today on the Business Hour.
Thank you.
Like to share news about your business, event, seminar or workshop? Simply email steve@stevetwynham.com.
Thank you for taking the time to listen to this podcast for business. If you would like to feature your business in Podcast for Business and the Business Hour podcast, I would love to hear from you. Simply email steve@stevetwynham.com. The Bitter Sour podcast is produced and presented by Steve Twynham. Copyright applies.